Hello everyone, welcome to Drivenmad.
Welcome back to Bosco, and this isn't a job for the faint-hearted like me.
No, now this seems a bit odd because you've probably seen the previous videos of us changing all the suspension and joints, and now we're going to change the hubs and CV joints in this because we got it back down on all the wheels and tyres and took it for a test drive, and it's still clicking and clunking, isn't it?
Yep.
And we were really hoping, all the joints needed doing like we mentioned, so we did those and we were really hoping that it would stop the clunking.
I've thrown them away, so I can't show you a before and after now, but if you haven't watched the other one, go back.
And we were really hoping it wasn't the CVs.
We were convinced it was those joints because they were knackered.
But it turns out that it must be CVs. So whilst we're doing the CVs, we're replacing the bearings and hub because as we're doing it, we thought we may as well just replace it and try and eliminate everything we possibly can. So we've soaked this over 24 hours in penetrating fluid.
That one we didn't.
This one we didn't, and God, this took a bit of beating out.
2 hours that took us to smash that off.
So soak it in penetrating fluid if you're doing this job, and we'll move the camera in and we'll start dismantling the brake system.
This is too much of a job for an old man.
Right, I'm not going to beat around the bush, we forgot to press record, but this is the first simple bit.
And it wasn't me.
The caliper here with the two brake pads in has a 17 here and a 14 on the side, so you've got to hold that with a 17, undo the 14 there, and then just lift the caliper off, and we've tied it up here so we don't strain the brake line. And now we're going to get the actual main brace off here itself. So we've got two nuts here and here. Right, there we are. Caliper brackets off. Okay, so we could just smash this with a sledgehammer and destroy it if we weren't reusing it, but we're going to try and keep these. So I'm going to.
They don't look so good, but they're all level and nice, aren't they?
So Dad's going to give that a good old smack. Hey, there we are. Right, so that just popped off there, and now he should just come off there like so. There we are. Hey! So whilst I'm here, I'm just going to remove the carter pin. There we are.
Oh, beautifully done.
Now it's time to undo this bracket here, so the brake line, everything is a bit more flexible, so we've got some space. And now I don't know if you'll be able to see this, you probably, yes you can. There's a little dust cover for the ABS ring here, and I'm going to take that off because when we're removing the nuts and bolts to hold on the hub, we need to get to it, and it's covering the bolts ever so slightly. So I'm going to remove that, yet again size 12, and we'll get that off now. There we are. But I'm going to undo the ABS sensor to get it out of the way so I don't bend it, which is yet again size 12 here. So size 12. Get that out of there. That should just wiggle out. Put that somewhere over there safe. And I'll put that bolt back in so I don't lose it. And now just off to the final one on that cover. Right, there we are. So you can see there, that's the cover for the ABS ring, and that's that bracket that the brake line was attached to, so they can come off. Before we undo the main nut here, I'm going to undo this bolt here, which is a size 12 again, which will just remove this dust cover, so we've got a bit more space to work. Looks very, very, very rusty. Okay. There we go.
I am hopeful that this being the driver's side, as it's a left-hand drive vehicle, this side won't be as rusted.
We're going to use an impact gun. Don't need this, but if you don't have it, it might turn, so you'll have to hold it with something. But
this side definitely looked the grim side.
And this is a 32mm socket on there. Let's go for it. There we are.
Easy.
So we take that off. This washer out. So I'm going to use a little magnet tool, which is nice, good little kit to have. Right, now on the back of the hub, you see we've got the 4 bolts, got 1, 2, 3 just up there, and the 4th one there, there. and we're going to undo those. Definitely needed the breaker bar. There we go, we're out. Now I'm leaving the tie rod end on and all the other joints at the moment because we need it to still be solid, so when we smack it, it doesn't fling about. And we have lined it with some more penetrating fluid and everything's off, so we're now going to be smacking these two either side because there's most space here and here. So Dad's been to the hardware store and got us both sledgehammers. The other side we didn't have sledgehammers each. I had one dodgy one and Dad had a very sort of normal hammer and it just wasn't quite up to it. So we're going to hit here and there. So best of luck, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Are we going to go, sorry.
Are we going to go cling, clang, cling, clang? Yeah.
That'll do.
Right, I'll start.
Do you want to show what it looks like?
Yeah. Here we are.
So there's tons of rust in there. So we're spraying.
Oh, you just covered the camera in it. Ah, bollocks.
Oh, you bath.
All right.
Right, as I've just sprayed the camera with lube.
Yeah.
But it definitely pays to get tons of spray inside there because it's dripping rust, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's virtually
Yeah.
it.
Let's tap it and it will come off.
That's it.
Beautiful. So that would have paid to have had a bit of copper grease around it when they put it in.
And that's what it's going to get, the new one.
It is. Right, we're now going for the tie rod end, just to get this undone. This is a size 19, so we'll pop that off a bit.
And these are new, so we're taking every single precaution to try and
Save them.
save them. That sounds like it's gone to
No,
me.
it hasn't. Keep going. There you go.
Hopefully that's intact.
As intact as it can be. Okay, so we're going for this top joint. I'm going to put a bit of pressure on the car. Nice. There we go. That's enough. Right, let's break it loose. There we go. There we go. It's undone the rest of the way. So now we'll just take the weight off that. There we go. And now that gives us plenty of flexibility to move this joint here to get the CV out. Right, now we're going to move this to get the CV out. On the other side there are 4 very small 14mm nuts you need to remove, which I can show you there. So the CV's held in, you can see by these are loose, but I can't get them out because they hit the diff behind the plate. So these are staying in, but you need to remove the nuts off of those. There's 4, and then the CV will come out. Now the side we're doing appears to just be a pull out, so what we'll do is get this ready to come out. So we'll start by moving this joint down and across. Hopefully we can just lift the CV like that. Okay, so typical, didn't get it on camera. All I did there was a bit of brute force and pulled it, and out it came. So the other side, like I showed you, you have to unbolt and it just comes out. This one you've just got to have a little bit of bit more pull than I wanted to pull on it, but there you go, it's out. Let's go.
Hold on, I'm not ready yet.
Oh, the camera's rolling. You're done missing your favourite friend.
Only friend. You're in a right rush.
Well, I would like to get it done. I want my car on the ramp. I don't want this piece of junk on it. Now, welcome back. It's the second day at the job. Yesterday we nipped back home
and we're wearing the same gear.
We're wearing the same gear. We went back home to collect the new parts to put on. So here we are. We've got new front hub, new CV, axle in there, and we've also got the new cap cover for the hub bolt. So
which may or may not go on.
Let's get this out and compare lengths, shall we?
Oh yeah.
Let's have a look at that.
For now.
And they look very much the same. I can't see anything wrong with the old one, can't feel it, doesn't feel clunky, but we'll have to see. We've got our fingers very well crossed that it is the issue. New hub, here we are, and we've got the new hub and bearing. So we thought it would just be better to buy a new lot, so you can see they're nice and clean, not rusty. We'll definitely be anti-seizing that. And our new cap, so they look the right length. That looks correct.
There we go.
Bang on, let's get it in. Right, so we're going to put in the new CV, so you can see
bit of grease on the end, very little.
Tiny bit of grease on the end, not much, just to help it seat in nicely.
Oh, sounded nice.
It's clicked in, there we are. Just a bit of a push and it slots in like that. That's nice, it's in. Right, there we are. So that's now in there. And now we're going to get the upper joint back on and the tie rod end back on. Right position, we're going to jack up the car a bit to get this upper joint back in.
Alright.
Yep, we've got a jack on the back of the car so you can't tip off as such. We'll have him, thank you. Right, we'll get that on and now we'll tighten it up. So we're just going to put the carter pin back through the top one. Now we're pretty much back together, what we'll do is we'll focus on getting the hub back in so that then we can continue rebuilding the rest. So here you can see on the old hub it's actually cleaner than it was because we've cleaned it with lots of penetrating fluid, but how that slots on there is a lot of cars have gaskets around here to stop obviously water and stuff getting in, but the L200s don't for some reason and water seeps in, and that's why this rusts solid and it's such a pig to get out. So we're going to put a tiny bit of anti-seize, copper grease, around this when we put in the new one.
For sealing purposes rather than removal.
And we've just got to make sure the face of this is really clean, which it is pretty much done. We'll give it a little wipe off first and then a bit of copper grease on there, a little bit of copper grease in there, and we should be laughing. So let's get that new one in. Here we are. Yes. Oh, and it even slots in better. Look at that.
Well, I'll be.
So there we are. That's now slotted in.
Okay.
And we can get that bugger done up. Right, now the main bolts that hold the wheel hub in, we're putting back in. Dad's cleaned them up, taken off the previous lot of thread locker.
I think anything that's, or so we've been told, don't think this is us, but anything that's going to have a torque setting, take the old thread locker off because you won't get the correct torque setting.
So these are done up to 90 Newton meters, so we'll get that done now. There we are, there's one. Right, we're going to start with our ABS ring cover here. So just in case you couldn't see, which you definitely still can't, there you can see this bracket slips behind the ABS ring there and then gets tightened down. Now whilst I remember, the ABS sensor will just go back in, slots in like so, size 12. There we are, ABS sensor back in, that bit, and that bit sits in slightly because it's got a slight ring in there.
So not that I'd have noticed, but yes. So,
because it should sit flush with the. So we're going to torque this big boy down once we've got the brake and everything reassembled, so rather than having to put a pry bar in and try and torque it, we can just press the brakes and it should not spin around. So next we will put some copper grease or anti-seize, whatever you call it, on here and then get the rotor back on. Right, so I'm going to put the dust cover back on, which just slides over and is secured with a size 12 yet again. Right, now I've got the dust shield back on. We've got to wait for Dad to come back and get some brake cleaner because our rotors are covered in grease and gunk, so we're going to clean them off in a minute and I'll be back. Right, Dad's just cleaned the back of the rotor. We're going to clean the front once it's on. So what we'll do is slot that over there with our copper grease on. There we are, very nice.
Haven't cleaned this side yet.
No, and I'm going to put the bracket for the brake caliper on. These are 17mm sockets. Right, now these are getting done to 110 Newton meters. There we go, good. Right, now the brake pads have got copper grease on the back of them, so we don't need to redo that. And we'll just pop these back in. They just pop in like so. There we go, nice. Right, so the caliper can now go back over, like so. And I'm just going to get the top one in. Nice. And the bottom one. So we got the brake line, which slots over the front of that like so, and just bolts back in. I think we'll put a bit of thread locker on this so it doesn't fall out. Right, now these big boys get torqued down to 190 Newton meters. So that's what I'm on now. There we go. I'm going to hold it here. We've pulled it out in a straight line, haven't turned the steering wheel yet, so we've got to turn to get out this space. Reverse.
I'm quite nervous.
Me too.
That's the brakes. Clunk free so far.
No,
oh, clunk, clunk, clunk.
And it's still clunking. It is.
Is that 500 quid down the drain?
Yeah. It's got to be brakes. It's got to be.
How?
That's all it can be.
It's clunking under brake.
God, it's clunking all the time now.
Nice truck.
Oh yeah. There's a good truck there.
Now, we were so fed up at this point we didn't even film an outro, but if any of you have any idea what the clunk could be, please pop it down in the comments below, it would be greatly appreciated. But as always, thank you for watching, please like, comment and subscribe.